Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Point Counterpoint with Charlie and Pastor Gary. I'm Charlie, and over there is Pastor Gary. This is a religious-based political show, if there could be such an animal.
I think there can be.
Yes. It's brought to you by WHRFM.com, World Hype, Computer, TV, and Radio, and the Dare to Be Different Food Pantry. If you'd like to contribute to the Dare to Be Different Food Pantry, and Gary can feed more people and have more money to operate the station and present this religious-based point of view, please go to WHRFM.com and hit the donate button. Nickels, dimes, quarters, shekels. We'll take change, but we'd like to have folding
We
money.
also now accept lira.
Lira, we take lira too, okay.
That's Italian, right?
Yes, that's Italian. If you have any questions, concerns, points of view, give us a call at 848-480-6371. We'd be glad to discuss it with you. What is today's show about? Today's podcast or computer show is about deporting veterans. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Deporting people who have served honorably in the military who were not citizens, who were either recruited in the United States, they were a legal citizen, not a legal resident of the United States, or they were recruited in a foreign country to serve in the military because of their foreign language or medical skills, and were promised an expedited route to citizenship, naturalization and citizenship as a result of their military service. Now, the bureaucrats, the deep state, you hear this thing, the deep state. What we have, the deep state, little explanation. People get jobs working for the government, working in the Veterans Administration, working in immigration and naturalization, working in land management, wherever. And they forget that they work for us, that we are the government. They start to think that they're in charge, not realizing that we're in charge and they work for us. And then they start wielding the power that we've given them. And quite often it is self-serving, short-sighted, based upon their own prejudices and points of view, as opposed to the Constitution's point of view, that everybody's created equal. A good example of that is the Obama-Biden administration's points of view on Israel. Israel is our lifelong friend in the Middle East. It is the only country in the world that was voted into existence by the world. The United Nations voted for Israel. So it's actually the only legitimate country that the rest of the world voted for. And the capital, or the capital, is Jerusalem, and our embassy was supposed to be in Jerusalem, and it was not. And every president, going all the way back to before Bill Clinton, promised that they would move the embassy to where it was supposed to be. And our State Department and politicians always objected that it would cause some type of brouhaha, and it was never done. During the Obama administration, shut off military aid to Israel. The Obama administration sent $300,000 to a political party in Israel that was trying to overthrow the existing government, the government of Benjamin Netanyahu, and put in a different type of a politician. Netanyahu is a conservative who believes that the Israeli people should stand independently, and Obama refused to send military aid to the Israeli military, which was hamstringing their ability to defend themselves. And then he sent political operatives and $300,000 to Israel in an attempt to defeat Netanyahu. Let me rephrase that. The President of the United States actively and aggressively interfered with the political agenda of an ally.
Yep.
That's what he did. Just as the Vice President of the United States under Obama, Biden, interfered with the political agenda, with the politics, with the government of the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. They are using your money and the American might to interfere with the governments of foreign powers, with the administration of power in foreign countries. It's really not what they were intended. We didn't elect them to do that. Mm-hmm. And they're manipulating these to their own benefit. Mm-hmm. The example, of course, is the Biden crime family and the amount of money they've been making out of the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. The other was Haiti, when Haiti had a big catastrophe. Mm-hmm. The Clinton Global Initiative went into Haiti and was raising money for Haiti, and nothing was ever done, and very little money was spent in Haiti. Yeah. But now a friend of Bill Clinton's controlled a cell phone company, and now that cell phone company is the only cell phone company available in Haiti. Mm. So
probably not a very good one either.
Well, gee, it was just amazing how these things happen.
Yeah.
But we have the State Department, and the State Department is filled with, in my view, secular, progressive, mm-hmm. left-wing liberals who are anti-Semitic. Mm-hmm. Now, you hear the term anti-Semitic, and then you also hear the left-wingers talking about racism, systemic racism. Mm-hmm. Gary, you're a minister. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me the difference between someone who is an anti-Semitic or someone who is systemically racist against Jews?
I think they're the same. There is no difference.
You mean you would be a racist if you were an anti-Semitic? Mm-hmm. Just so we have clarify that. Mm-hmm. So being a racist doesn't mean that it has specifically to do with a minority community in the United States.
Right.
If you are a racist or an anti-Semitic, you are still the same. Mm-hmm. You are prejudiced against Jews. Mm-hmm. Well, the decisions the State Department has made down through the years would indicate to any person that knows how to put their trousers on with a zipper in the front. Mm-hmm. Oh, you use buttons.
Or buttons.
Yeah, zippers are too complicated for Gary. He uses buttons.
Buttons are easier.
Buttons are easy, yes. So the State Department, in my view, the decisions they've been making over the last 50 years mm-hmm. are anti-Semitic and racist. Mm-hmm. And does anybody believe that the State Department and the people that run our military love the military? If they loved the military, they would stop getting us into wars mm-hmm. where the young men have to go and get killed for nothing.
Right.
You know, I mean, you can't take democracy to a country that doesn't want it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Now, where are we going with deporting veterans? Well, I tried to set the theme that the bureaucracy, the deep state, those people who have gotten jobs working for the government, who work in the Immigration and Naturalization Service and the State Department, and even for the Pentagon, have decided that it's okay to promise foreigners that they'll help you become a citizen if you serve in the military and then refuse to honor that and deport them. So first we have U.S. citizenship. This is right off of the military.com website. U.S. citizenship for military veterans and dependents. Big picture here of a U.S. passport. Welcome to the United States, a guide for new immigrants. If you are a military member or veteran, you may be eligible for naturalization under special regulations. Surviving family members of deceased military members may also be eligible. There is even a provision in the law that allows for posthumous granting of U.S. citizenship of military members who died in the line of duty or as a result of their military service.
That's one way they won't get deported.
Well,
if in other words, you're saying once they gave their life for our nation, they would become.
Just because they die doesn't mean they become a citizen. There has to be a process.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, I mean, if you're a military or former military, or if you died in combat or worked for the military, it doesn't automatically happen. There has to be an application. Okay. Some organization, some person has to make an application.
Okay.
So we have naturalization through 1 year of qualifying service during peacetime. Generally, a person who has served honorably in the military at any time may be eligible to apply for naturalization. The military community sometimes refers to this as peacetime naturalization. In general, you must have served honorably in the military for at least 1 year, and if a veteran, I guess you would be a veteran if you served in the military for at least 1 year honorably.
Right.
And if a veteran, must have received an honorable discharge. Be a permanent resident when you apply. Have a knowledge of U.S. history and government. Be able to read, write, and speak the English language. Demonstrate good moral character for at least 5 years prior to applying. And meet others.
Only 5 years.
Yeah, well, for 5 years.
Yeah.
Meet other certain residence and physical presence requirements. Generally, naturalization through qualifying service during periods of hostilities. Difference. See, peacetime hostilities. Generally, military members who serve honorably for any period of time, even 1 day, during specifically designated periods of hostilities, are eligible for naturalization. Have served honorably in the military during a designated period of hostilities, even for 1 day, have been lawfully admitted as a permanent resident at any time after enlistment, or have been physically present in the U.S. or certain territories at the time of enlistment, be eligible to read and write the English language, have a knowledge of U.S. history, and the designated periods of hostility are, I'm not going to worry about 1939 to 46, 1950 to 55, 1961 to 79, 1990 to 91. Let's talk about now. Designated periods of hostility from September 11th, 2001 to present. So, Immigration and Naturalization Service, folks, states that if you are a member of the U.S. military serving for just 1 day and get an honorable discharge from September 11th, 2001 to present, you can apply for and be granted citizenship.
Correct.
Now, the citizenship for family members, family-based survivor benefits. The Army plans to fill shortages of critical language and medical billets with legally present non-citizens. What I'm doing here is I'm setting the stage. It's obvious from the publications that I'm reading that...
Now, this is from the U.S. government? What was that?
This is all U.S. government. That was the Army. That was the Army. They have all kinds of programs. All right, here we go.
You have Air Force there. I see.
The Air Force values foreign language speakers, offers additional pay and more career opportunities. All right.
Navy in there?
What?
You have Army, Navy.
The only one that's not, it doesn't do it is the Marine Corps.
Okay.
All right. The Marine Corps doesn't recruit. Well, they recruit, but you have to enlist.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They do these language tests. Here's the languages, the different countries. They actually go into these countries and find people and bring them to the United States and offer them citizenship if they enlist in the military and serve.
All right.
Albanian, Amharic, Arabic, Azerbaijani, Bulgarian, Burmese, Cambodian, Cibalo. I can't even pronounce these. Chinese, Cantonese, Amoy, Mandarin, Czech, Danish, Dutch, French, German. Our military serves all over the world, and they recruit people. So where am I going with this? Here in my hand, folks, I have my copy of the American Legion. The American Legion. Now, how do I have a copy of the American Legion?
How do you have a copy of it?
Well, I'm a member of the American Legion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm American of the American Legion and the VFW because I was a Marine for 6 years.
Mm-hmm. That's June issue, right? 2021.
This is the June of 2021 issue.
So that's this month.
And the headline here says, "Goodbye, thank you." Defying 200 years of laws and practice, the United States is deporting a record number of veterans after breaking promises to make them citizens if they served.
Wow.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
This is the deep state at work. This is the bureaucracy at work. Do you ladies and gentlemen, realize what this does to our reputation
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
around the world? But you see, the current bureaucrats don't think we should have a good reputation around the world. Mm-hmm. We have a Secretary of State who's been going around the world telling everybody what pigs we are, telling everybody that we're racists. We have systemic racism. That how horrible we are. We have a Secretary of Defense that's going around the world bowing his head. We've had our State Department has had meetings with the Chinese where the Chinese have berated us. This current administration stands up every day and tells the world what horrible people we are and how horrible we are. And now the bureaucracy, the deep state, are sending American veterans who served honorably in the military from 2001 to today, who are entitled to be naturalized. Now, they have to fill out the forms.
Right.
They're being denied and they're being deported. Here in one hand, they are taking American service personnel, veterans of our armed forces who have fought in conflicts
For this country.
Yeah. And they are shipping them out of the country back to their country of origin, while thousands of illegal, illiterate people who cannot speak the English language, who have no interest in the United States except how they can benefit financially from the United States, they're allowing them to come flooding across the southern border as they are shipping American soldiers, sailors, and airmen out of the country before they can become naturalized. I mean, here's a gentleman right here, an Army combat veteran, Mr. Hernandez Mata, is one of thousands of foreign-born veterans deported from the United States because they did not receive the citizenship they say they were promised when they joined the military. The same citizenship that I just read to you about that exists. Naturalization, you're entitled to it if you served in the military for just one day. and got an honorable discharge. Now, the American Legion has a 4 or 5 page article. More than 500 people from 80 different countries, including several U.S. military personnel, become U.S. citizens during the Independence Day naturalization ceremony at the Seattle Center on July 4th in 2019. So there's 500 people from 80 different countries who served in the military who became citizens, but yet they're deporting veterans. On February 25th, American Legion National Commander James W. Bill Oxford called upon President Biden to issue an executive order to reinstitute the USCIS Services for Naturalization at Basic Training Initiative and reopen all field offices abroad for service members and deported veterans. It is imperative that we strengthen military naturalization programs. You have veterans who could have served for 20 years in the military, being deported.
Wow. 6,000 undocumented immigrants come across daily.
Daily.
6,000.
Yeah, so they're letting them come across the border, and they're sending veterans out of the country. Deported Veterans Support House, a lifetime for displaced former U.S. servicemen. Director of Deported Veterans Support House, Hector Brajas, provides assistance to former U.S. service members in more than 50 countries, people who have been deported who should have been allowed to become U.S. citizens. It's a disgrace. It is a disgrace on the face of this nation what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
People serve in our military honorably, deserve citizenship, and are being deported, while illegal aliens are allowed to flood into the country with diseases, illiterate, no job skills, that are going to have to be supported by the American taxpayer. It is heinous. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's broadcast. Point Counterpoint.
Oh, we have about 10 more minutes.
No, I think we should just end it here.
All right, we can do that.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, this concludes Point Counterpoint with Charlie and Pastor Gary. If you have any questions or concerns, give us a call at 848-480-6371. And this is Point Counterpoint with Charlie and Pastor Gary. Keep your back to the wall and your powder dry.